Hi everybody, welcome to Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. My name is Angel and I'm very glad to see that you stopped by today. We are going to be discussing spray basting today, okay? And specifically the aerosol cans ones. When I first started to get the idea of maybe I wanted to spray baste, I went to Walmart and I bought an inexpensive quilt basting spray that they carry. And I tried it out. Now, one thing that the bottle says, or the can says, is that you want to cover your surfaces with your proper, paper to protect from overspray. And then it says, make sure you're in a well ventilated area. So I was a little nervous. So it was great weather. It was in the summertime, I believe. And so I just took it outside onto the sidewalk, and boy, am I glad I did. I will say that this stuff was so messy. I mean, not only was it in different places all over the sidewalk, but it was all over my hands. If I wasn't careful, my fingers were sticking, and I, touched my clothes, and it was a mess. It was a mess. And the fumes, woo! I gotta tell you, it make anybody feel sparkly. That is for sure. Now, one of the other things that I noticed that it says is that laundering will remove some of the diminished adhesive properties. So you can wash it and leave it on your quilt. But if you want to remove it completely, you have to dry clean it. So I tried it out, and other than the high intense fumes and the extreme messiness, it works. It works really well, okay? Things stay together. I don't have to worry about shifting of my fabric. And what I really like about spray base and why I don't use pins is because I don't have to stop and go all the time because there's a pin in the way, and I don't have to worry about hitting it with my needle, because that really scares me. I've come close even just with those pinning needles, and it just makes me worry a bit. So it allows you to be a lot more free to do that. So those are some of the cons, of course, of spray basting, but also they dry real fast. So as far as these aerosol cans, they do dry really, really quick. And that to me is a bonus, because you don't have to wait for something to dry as, 24, 48 hours or something. And it just makes it really fast. And for small projects, A-okay. Now, being that it's got high fumes, it makes me nervous to ever do it in my house. Definitely need to open windows and doors. So I use this first, and then I hear all these quilters ramping and raving about 505 spray, right? It's a temporary adhesive for fabric. So no stains, acid free, no CFCs. I'm like, okay, let's give it a try. Well, I will tell you a couple things. People obviously leave it on their quilts and it's fine. It does say, though, to remove adhesive, dry clean. And as far as that dry cleaning, I am never going to dry clean a quilt. I don't know about any of y'all. So if it's fine in there, it's fine in there. I'm good with it, right? But it does say that. Now, it also does say a well-ventilated area. So of course, after using this, I was really nervous. And I don't have a table that I travel with. So typically when I do small projects, I've been able to take it outside, but it's wintertime, right? And it's windy, it's raining, it's snowing, it's just not the right time period to be able to take your project outside, and it's cold. So In order to do this video, I was getting a little nervous. And what I ended up doing is my basement has a tile floor that I don't really much worry about. And so I decided to shut the basement door and open up I have a walkout basement with a back door. So I opened up that door, opened the windows. I made sure it was ventilated. And I gotta tell you, this did not smell. I was thoroughly impressed. And the other thing that I liked is that it wasn't messy. I mean, it's not messy. I just, compared to these two, night and day. Now I will say, now I don't know what I paid for this. I'm gonna have to guess $6, $7, $8 maybe. But I do know this ran me around $19 from Amazon, so it is a little more expensive. And wait though, but I have learned since, I think I saw Joanne carried it for like $10 and change. And then if you got a coupon, right? Believe it or not, when I buy another can, when, I'm gonna go to Joann's, unless I find somewhere even less expensive. But this really does a great job. I'm thoroughly impressed. Like I said, one of the things is that it dries really quickly. It's easy to use. So we're going to get started on this video. I'm going to show you how to use a spray baste. I'm just doing a practice sandwich, one that I'm going to use to practice my free motion quilting or some walking foot quilting. So it's just a sandwich, but the concepts or the process of how to do this, you can carry into a larger quilt. Now I will say, as far as that larger quilt, you got to make sure you're well ventilated. But if you're thinking you're going to put it on a table and it's going to drape, I don't know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to do that. So I'm thinking with a larger quilt, it would have to be on the floor. And I've seen people use this with wood flooring and they just clean it up. That makes me nervous. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that, but people do it all the time. Just make sure that you're well ventilated. And again, you'll have to get on the floor. And I hate getting on the floor. I hate it. Even with these small projects, I'm planning on buying a traveling table and putting something down over the top of it so that I can protect its surface. But I don't have a problem doing it in my basement with all the doors and windows open. I mean, that was amazing. But we're going to get started, like I said. And one of the things that I also use with spray basting is some blues painter tape. Now, I've said this before, that I will show you some other things. And I use this stuff for a lot of different things. And you've already seen some videos where I have. But the reason why I like the blues painter's tape is because you can tape down something and not worry about residue, and it does stick. So, and it doesn't hurt your fabric, it won't hurt your floor, it won't hurt your table, it won't, it just, there's no residue. So it's great stuff, but you will need some painter's tape or some duct tape. And then of course your spray base. So let's go ahead and get this started, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to put your top piece down on the floor. I'm sorry, your backing down on the floor where the right side is facing the floor. Okay, so it's facing down, the wrong side is facing up. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is get your blues painter's tape and start taping the edges. And I always start with one edge and I do the exact opposite. And when you do this, you want to pull it a little bit taut, not too taut because then you'll pull out the fabric from the tape, but just taut enough. And then of course you'll do another side, pull in a little bit, and then you'll do the last side. Now, if you had a really large quilt and you were doing this, you might want to tape the corners, and then you would also maybe want to tape in between the middle piece and your corners. This is just a small fat quarter size practice sandwich, so I even don't have to do the corners. I just wanted to demonstrate what that might look like. And then of course you would do the last two and any in-betweens just to make sure that you're pulling that fabric nice and taut. Like I said, this is just a practice sandwich. I am not too concerned with it. The next thing you're going to want to do is get your batting. And you want to place your batting on top of the backing. And you want to smooth it all out. Okay? Now I'm using 100% polyester cotton because it won't have a lot of loft for my practice sandwich. But you'll want to take that and you'll want to roll it in half, just like you saw there. Now that is especially helpful with larger quilts, to go that halfway and just kind of roll it. Then you will spray it and then you'll spread it nice and even. Okay, then you'll spray it again, give it a nice coating, and spread it. And when you're spreading it, you're trying to make sure that it's pulling out flat, away from the middle towards the edges. All right, and then you'll just go ahead and do the other side, and again about halfway. Now you'll know where it stopped, the spray stopped from the other side, because it won't let it pull any further. And then of course you just spray and spread. That is the theme for this: spray and spread. Okay, after that you'll want to grab your topper. I'm just making sure it's all smoothed out. Oh, I did check the corners, so you do want to check the corners to make sure that everything and the edges and everything is on there nice and sticky and stuck to each other. And you'll see I had a couple of corners here that I didn't get. Nice and smoothly pressed out. And then you'll want to grab your topper. And when you place your topper down, you want to be sure that the right side is up. Now I've used solids and it really doesn't matter, but you're making that sandwich for you to quilt. So the backing goes right side down and the topper goes right side up. And again, you want to smooth it all out. And you want to make sure that your top is where it needs to be positioned according to the backing, okay? Now again, you do the same method. Fold it in half, do a little spray, and then spray and spread. Spray and spread, making sure everything's pulled out nice and taut and flat as you can get it. Again, check those edges, check the corners, make sure everything's stuck and ready to roll here. We're going to do the other side this time. Spray and spread. And like I said earlier, this is a very fast drying method. However, if you did mess up a little bit, it will pull back before it completely dries and you could get that straight. Just want to make sure everything is good to go. Checking those corners. And then the last thing you're going to do is pull away your project, and that is it. It's as easy peasy as that. Okay, pretty simple, right? It is. And for small projects, I think it's great, especially, you know, if you're going to quilt it on a home machine. I really do enjoy using spray baste for small projects. It doesn't shift. I don't worry about it coming apart, and it just makes life a lot easier opposed to using pins. Like I said, I don't use pins. I've said this a couple of times. I don't use pins, and people love them. I just get nervous that I'm going to hit a pin and then I stop and go with it all the time. But I do worry about hitting a pin because I've come close to just even hitting my needles, as you have seen in the past. But yes, it's really simple to use. I would highly encourage that you try it for your small projects. And then, you know, if you need to use it for a larger project, just know that you're probably going to have to get on the floor. And make sure you're well ventilated. Big key thing here. Next week, though, I'm going to take you through on how to make a homemade spray base, because you don't have to worry about the fumes. You don't have to be ventilated. It makes a lot of it really inexpensively. And when you launder it, it's all, you know, stuff you find in your kitchen basically, and then some rubbing alcohol, if I remember correctly. And you know, so all of those things wash right out. And so you don't have to worry about having those chemicals in your home. And it's very, like I said, inexpensive. So we're going to do that next week. But until then, I will either see you tonight on Facebook Live to answer any questions that you may have. You may also drop them in the comments below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe so you get the future notifications. And until next week, may you continue to be inspired, productive, and joyful, and never stop making those dreams in quilting come true. See y'all next week. Happy quilting.